We're doing great. Doing great. Trying to figure out what training program we need.
Yeah.
I am. We've had the roofing business here. What have we been doing now? 4 years, Ted? 4 years. It just hasn't really taken hold. Honestly, I haven't given it the effort that I should have.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to do so.
I feel
and
that.
So instead of bringing guys in, I've got several new guys that's ready to start doing sales for me.
Yeah.
So the recruiting in, I've got several on that, but I need a training program to put them in place and make sure that they survive and do well.
Right. Okay, so basically, how many sales guys do you have right now?
Honestly, right now I've only got 2.
Perfect.
Plus me. So we're small, but right now I've got 4 guys. So I would start 6 or 7 guys on your training program.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you guys did $4 million your first year, and you only had a handful of people, so that's pretty darn good. So now it's just turning it into, I think every contractor reaches a point where they realize they're at diminishing returns. Like if there's only 2, 3, or 4 of you, you can get by kind of flying by the seat of your pants. And all right, we just hired Johnny. Let's take Johnny with us for the next couple weeks until he catches on, and then we're gonna hopefully pick off one more person. But when you're trying to really scale on a large scale, that's just not scalable. Like you can't repeat that over and over. You can't take people by the hand over and over. So basically, like if I were to put it into a nutshell, the goal of me putting together the programs that I put together and the way that I designed it was allow you guys to kind of implement a franchise effect in your roofing company. And what I mean by that is I always tell people, like, look at the most successful franchises on the planet. Like McDonald's is the #1 most successful franchise on earth. They have like 38,000 locations. They do billions of dollars a year, right? But I always ask people this, I say, why do you think McDonald's is #1? It's not because they have the best food, right? Like, it's not because they're using like organic, sustainably sourced, the best of the best ingredients out there, like Angus, big grass-fed beef, right? It's like mystery meat, grade D dog food. It's not because they've got the best, most qualified people working in the restaurant, right? It's like teenagers that really don't care if they're there or not. They're like stoned out of their gourds, right? But the McDonald's runs, and it doesn't matter if you go to a McDonald's in Juneau, Alaska or Atlanta, Georgia, you're going to get the exact same McDonald's experience, correct?
Right.
So why then is McDonald's the best? Well, because they've just figured out a duplicatable system, right?
Yep.
So they just repeat that over and over and over. So we have to look at our roofing company the same. Like everything that we do, whether it's the hiring method, like this is the ad we put out, this is the interview process people go through, this is when we do it, this is how we do it, and then we rinse and repeat. We have a formal training that once everybody's onboarded, we put them through that training course. It lasts this amount of time. They get launched. And then we rinse and repeat that. And then there's standards and procedures for accountability, sales meetings, having one-on-ones with people to make sure they're on track for their goals. All of that matters, but it needs to be a system. So much so that let's say that your sales manager is out for a week because they're sick. The production manager could even step in and go, all right, well, I can run the sales meetings and I can run training because I have the book. I have the whole system here. We want everything in your company to be like, just repeating a recipe. If I'm the only person that has the chocolate chip cookie recipe in my brain and I'm sick today, no cookies are getting made at the bakery, right? But if I have my recipe written down, anybody can go to the bakery and make the cookies for the day. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's what we want every step of the way in your roofing company, and that's what I've designed my programs to do. So the recruiting machine is completely repeatable, proven to be effective. Like you're going to get anywhere from 20 to 50 applicants in the first 7 to 10 days. I've had probably 10 or 15 people get over 100. That's crazy talk for direct sales hiring. Like most people are excited if they get 2 people to bite on their sales ad each week, right? So that's going to be a repeatable process. Your new hires training is going to be a system where you'll deliver training in a classroom style setting over the course of 5 days, 3 full days and 2 half days. So that's going to be a repeatable system where you just deliver the content. It's already scripted out for you. Each trainee will follow along in their own book, like their own training manual. So that's where they're going to practice, memorize, study, and role play their door pitches, a word for word closing presentation, do's and don'ts on adjuster meetings, what is and is not hail and wind damage, roofing components, ACV, RCV, depreciation, deductible, all the lingo they need to understand, time management, all that stuff. And then there's a trainer's guide as well. And then there's the sales team management course. That's wherever the sales manager is going to use that to run sales meetings every week, facilitate ongoing training, break down each person's income or sales goal all the way down to the exact number of doors that we know they'd need to knock each week to hit that goal based on their own statistics. There's different contests and incentives and bonuses and compensation structures in there to utilize that are really effective. All that stuff is going to be in there. So it's a system that's made to work together. It gets you from point A, which is bringing people on, to point Z, which is they've gone through training, they're being managed, and they're now integrated as a functional part of the team.
I've run businesses for years. I've owned my own business now for almost 40 years. But I've never tried to. I had one that I scaled it up heavy, that we were doing very strong. I had two right at the time, but I always brought the people in to scale it. So
Yeah.
I never actually done it myself. Like one of my businesses was doing 1.3 million a month, which was decent. And then I had another one that done quite a bit more than that even.
Yeah.
But I never had to scale it. I brought the people in, the managers, and then they seemed to help me scale it up. So I never got to take credit for it. And I'm kind of honestly, even with running that size of a business, I'm somewhat lost in how to scale this thing up.
Right.
So I need, so even with me, I'm kind of like one of those blank sheets, no preconceived ideas of what I should do to do it. I would follow directions well.
Yeah.
Because again, I know my shortcomings.
And you made such a good point there a second ago. You said, I've always brought people in that kind of did the work of scaling for me, right? And that's such a perfect example of, if you don't have the system in-house at your company, if you hire Tim to be your recruiting manager and he does a great job, but then he quits or he moves or he decides to become a monk in Tibet, the recruiting's gone. It's not like now you have to find another Tim. That's not very easy, is it? But if you bring somebody in, like Tim that's fully capable, smart, personable, and you say, here's the system, you just run it. Now if that person quits, we just replace the body, right? It's like the system's already here. We don't need to rely on the person that's just mysteriously, magically good or qualified or whatever to be that person. We just give whoever that person is the system and they run it. And now we're not relying so heavily on the person themselves, because anything can happen to that person at any time. Agreed?
Right.
So I love that you said that, because that's, and by the way, I want to give you props because it is so difficult for so many company owners to release control in a certain way. Like, I talk to so many business owners who are just like, well, I know how to do all this stuff. I just need to sit down and put it together. That day never comes.
No.
It never comes.
No, and honestly,